Hello everyone, and welcome to Level Up Your English. I'm Emma.
And I'm Jake.
In today's video, we're going to show you a real job interview conversation in English.
You'll hear natural English used in professional situations, just like in a real interview.
This lesson is designed for advanced English learners, around C1 to C2 level.
So listen carefully and pay attention to the vocabulary and expressions.
Let's begin. Good morning, Jake. Thank you for coming in today.
Good morning, Emma. Thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
It's a pleasure to meet you. Did you have any trouble finding the office?
Not at all. The directions were very clear, and the location is actually quite convenient.
I'm glad to hear that. Would you like some water or coffee before we begin?
Water would be great, thank you.
Of course. So, Jake, before we dive into the details of the position, I'd love to hear a bit about you. Could you tell me about your professional background?
Certainly. I've been working in marketing for a little over 8 years now. I started my career in a small digital marketing agency where I focused mainly on social media campaigns and content strategy.
That sounds like a great place to start.
It really was. Because the company was small, I had the chance to work on many different aspects of marketing, from campaign planning to client communication.
That kind of experience can be very valuable early in a career.
Absolutely. After about 3 years there, I moved to a larger company where I worked as a marketing specialist. My role involved coordinating campaigns across multiple platforms and working closely with the sales team.
Interesting. And what motivated you to move from a smaller agency to a larger one?
I wanted to gain experience working on bigger projects and with larger teams. I felt it would challenge me and help me develop stronger leadership and strategic thinking skills.
And did it?
Definitely. The scale of the campaigns was much larger, and I had the opportunity to collaborate with people from different departments, such as product development, design, and analytics.
That must have given you a broader perspective on how businesses operate.
Exactly. It helped me understand how marketing fits into the bigger picture of a company's strategy.
That's great to hear. So, what attracted you to this position at our company?
There were a few things that really caught my attention. First of all, your company has a strong reputation for innovation in the industry, which I find very exciting.
I'm glad to hear that.
I also noticed that your team seems to focus heavily on data-driven decision-making, which is something I've been increasingly interested in over the past few years.
Data is definitely a big part of how we approach marketing here.
That's one of the reasons I was so interested in applying. I enjoy combining creativity with analytics to develop strategies that are both innovative and measurable.
That's exactly the kind of mindset we look for in this role. Could you tell me a little more about your current position?
Of course. Currently, I work as a senior marketing coordinator at Brightwave Media. In this role, I manage several digital campaigns and supervise a small team of 3 marketing specialists.
So you already have some leadership responsibilities.
Yes, although my leadership role has been gradually growing over time. At first, I mainly focused on executing campaigns, but over the past 2 years, I've been more involved in planning and strategic decisions.
And how do you find managing a team?
I really enjoy it. One of the things I find most rewarding is helping team members develop their skills and grow professionally.
That's a great perspective.
I also believe that strong communication is essential when leading a team. Making sure everyone understands the goals and feels comfortable sharing ideas can make a huge difference in the outcome of a project.
I completely agree. Communication is a key factor in any successful team.
Absolutely.
And what would you say has been your biggest professional achievement so far?
That's a great question. One project that stands out was a product launch campaign we ran last year. I was responsible for coordinating the entire digital strategy, including social media, email marketing, and online advertising.
That sounds like a major project.
It definitely was. The timeline was tight and there were a lot of moving parts, but the campaign ended up exceeding our expectations in terms of engagement and sales.
That must have been very satisfying.
It was. It was also a great learning experience in terms of managing pressure and keeping a team focused on a common goal.
Well, thank you for sharing that. It's always interesting to hear how candidates describe their professional journeys.
Of course, I'm happy to talk about my experience.
All right, Jake. Let's talk a little more about how you work in challenging situations. In your experience, marketing projects can sometimes involve tight deadlines and unexpected problems. Could you tell me about a time when you faced a particularly difficult challenge at work?
Of course. One situation that comes to mind happened during a product launch campaign we were managing last year. Everything was going according to plan until about a week before the launch.
What happened?
We discovered that one of our main advertising platforms had suddenly changed its algorithm, which significantly reduced the reach of our campaign.
That must have been frustrating.
It definitely was. We had invested a lot of time and resources into preparing the campaign, so suddenly seeing the performance drop was quite concerning.
How did your team react to that situation?
At first, there was a bit of panic, to be honest, but I quickly realized that the best way to deal with the situation was to stay calm and focus on finding alternatives.
That makes sense.
I gathered the team and we started analyzing other channels that could help us compensate for the loss of visibility. We ended up shifting part of the budget to email marketing and influencer collaborations.
And did that strategy work?
Surprisingly well. In fact, the influencer partnerships ended up generating even more engagement than our original plan.
That's impressive. It sounds like you were able to turn a problem into an opportunity.
Exactly. It was a good reminder that flexibility is extremely important in marketing.
Let's talk about pressure for a moment. Marketing environments can be quite fast-paced. How do you personally deal with stressful situations?
Over time, I've learned that staying organized is one of the best ways to manage pressure. When multiple deadlines are approaching at the same time, having a clear overview of priorities can make a huge difference.
That's very true.
I also try to break large tasks into smaller steps. When a project feels overwhelming, focusing on smaller milestones makes it much more manageable.
That's a very practical strategy.
Additionally, I've learned the importance of trusting the team. Delegating responsibilities allows everyone to focus on their strengths instead of trying to handle everything alone.
Delegation is definitely a key leadership skill.
Absolutely. In my early career, I sometimes tried to do everything myself, which was neither efficient nor sustainable.
That's a common experience for many professionals. Let me ask you another question. In your opinion, what qualities make someone truly successful in a marketing leadership role?
That's an interesting question. I think one of the most important qualities is curiosity. The marketing landscape changes constantly, and staying curious helps you remain open to new ideas and technologies.
I like that answer.
I would also say that strong analytical thinking is essential. Creativity is important, but without data to support decisions, it's difficult to measure success.
Very true.
Finally, I think empathy plays a bigger role than people sometimes realize.
Empathy?
Yes. Understanding both your customers and your team members allows you to make better decisions and build stronger relationships.
That's a very thoughtful perspective. One last question before we move on. What do you consider to be your strongest professional skill?
I would say my strongest skill is strategic thinking. I enjoy looking at the bigger picture and identifying opportunities that may not be immediately obvious.
Can you give an example?
Certainly. In my current role, I noticed that many of our campaigns were focused on short-term results. While that approach was effective, I believed we were missing opportunities to build stronger long-term brand awareness.
So what did you do?
I proposed a strategy that combined performance marketing with more storytelling-driven campaigns. Over time, this helped us increase both engagement and brand loyalty.
That's exactly the kind of strategic mindset we value here.
I'm glad to hear that.
All right, Jake. Thank you for sharing those insights. In the next part of the interview, I'd like to ask you a few questions about your career goals and expectations.
Of course, I'm happy to answer.
All right, Jake. I'd like to ask you a few final questions about your professional goals and expectations.
Of course.
Let's start with something that many candidates find challenging. What would you say are your greatest strengths?
That's a good question. I would say one of my main strengths is my ability to think strategically while still paying attention to the details.
Can you explain what you mean by that?
Certainly. In many projects, it's easy to focus only on immediate tasks and lose sight of the broader objective. I try to maintain a balance between executing daily responsibilities and keeping the long-term goals in mind.
That's an important skill in leadership roles.
I believe so. Another strength I would mention is communication. I make a conscious effort to ensure that everyone involved in a project clearly understands the objectives and their responsibilities.
Communication is definitely essential in collaborative environments.
Absolutely. When communication breaks down, even the best strategies can fail.
Now, let's talk about something that is often harder to answer. What would you say is one of your weaknesses?
That's always an interesting question. One area I've been working on is learning to delegate more effectively.
Could you elaborate on that?
Earlier in my career, I sometimes felt responsible for handling every aspect of a project myself. I believe that by being directly involved in everything, I could ensure the best results.
And did that approach work?
Not always. Over time, I realized that trying to control every detail can actually slow a team down and create unnecessary stress.
That's a very common realization for people moving into leadership roles.
Exactly. So I've been focusing on trusting my team more and allowing others to take ownership of their work. It has made collaboration much more efficient.
That's a very thoughtful answer. Let's move on to another question. Where do you see yourself professionally in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I hope to continue developing my leadership abilities and taking on more strategic responsibilities.
What does that look like to you?
Ideally, I'd like to be leading larger marketing initiatives and helping shape the overall direction of a company's brand strategy.
So you're interested in roles that involve broader decision-making.
Exactly. I'm very motivated by opportunities where I can contribute not only to campaign execution, but also to long-term planning and innovation.
That aligns quite well with the direction our team is moving in. Now I'd like to ask about something practical. What are your salary expectations for this position?
Based on my research of similar roles in the industry and the responsibilities described in the job listing, I would expect a salary in the range of $70,000 to $80,000 annually.
That's within the general range we had in mind.
That's good to hear. Of course, I'm also interested in the overall growth opportunities and the long-term potential within the company.
We place a strong emphasis on professional development here, so there are definitely opportunities to grow.
That's something I value a lot in the workplace.
Before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me about the role or the company?
Yes, actually, I'd love to know more about how success is measured in this position during the first year.
That's a great question. In the first year, we typically focus on how quickly someone adapts to the team and contributes to campaign strategy.
That makes sense?
We also look at how effectively new ideas are implemented and how well the team collaborates on major projects.
That sounds like an environment where initiative is encouraged.
Very much so. We value people who bring fresh perspectives.
That's exactly the kind of environment I'm looking for.
Well, Jake, thank you very much for coming in today. It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you for taking the time to meet with me. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Our team will review everything and get back to you soon.
Perfect. I look forward to hearing from you.
Well, everyone, we hope you enjoyed this advanced English conversation.
And we hope it helped you learn useful vocabulary for professional situations.
If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to subscribe to level up your English.
And share this video with someone who wants to improve their English.
Thanks for watching.
See you in the next lesson.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.